salted with fire, and every sacrifice shall be salted with salt. That's Mark 9:43-49. That's Jesus preaching. Wow. But number two, hell's a real physical place. It has a physical location. In the book of Numbers 16, don't turn there, it talks about them that go down quick into the pit. Talking about people falling into a chasm in the earth, dropping alive into hell. If God make a new thing, he said. It's never happened before, Moses said. But he said, if I'm telling the truth, Korah, Dathan, and Abiram and all their company will drop in a chasm in the earth alive into hell. And that's what happened. Because hell is a real physical place. It has a physical, real location in the heart of the earth. And so they go down quick into the pit. They and all that appertained to them went down alive into the pit, and the earth closed upon them, and they perished from among the congregation. They died on the way down, obviously. As they reached the flames of hell, it burned them up, and their body was torched as their soul and spirit continued the drop all the way down to the bottomless pit of hell. Amos 9:2, though they dig into hell, thence shall mine hand take them. Though they climb up to heaven, thence will I bring them down. It's a physical place. Ezekiel 32:18, unto the nether parts of the earth with them that go down into the pit. We already talked about that they're going to be tormented in the presence of God. Let's skip over that for sake of time. But look at this verse. Turn to Isaiah 30, verse 30. Isaiah 30, verse 30. Now, who remembers reading in the Bible about a place called Tophet? T-O-P-H-E-T. Put up your hand if that sounds a little familiar to you. Tophet. Tophet is the valley of the son of Hinnom. That might sound familiar to you. It's a place that's described very often throughout the Bible. Tophet, or the valley of the son of Hinnom, it was a place where wicked kings and ungodly Baal worshippers and Molech worshippers would take their children and cause them to pass through the fire. It was a valley that was set on fire, and they would perform human sacrifice. Wicked, ungodly action that God condemned again and again and again. Over, I believe, 11 times in the Old Testament, he talked about people making their children to pass through the fire, and he condemned it and decried it all throughout the Old Testament. But this place was called, the proper name, our city's called Phoenix, our state's called Arizona, this place was called Tophet. It was the valley of the son of Hinnom. Watch what God says here. He's using Tophet as an illustration, as a picture of hell here. Read this. Verse 30. And the Lord shall cause his glorious voice to be heard, and shall show the lighting down of his arm with the indignation of his anger. This is God's anger. Are you reading it? And with the flame of a devouring fire, with scattering and tempest and hailstones. For through the voice of the Lord shall the Assyrian be beaten down and smote with a rod. And in every place where the ground and staff shall pass, which the Lord shall lay upon him, it shall be with tabrets and harps, and in battles of shaking will he fight with it. Listen to this. For Tophet is ordained of old. Saying it's from a long, long time ago. Yea, for the king it is prepared. He hath made it deep and large. The pile thereof is fire and much wood. The breath of the Lord, like a stream of brimstone, doth kindle it. You see that? Hell, what do we learn here? Hell is the culmination of God's anger. I mean, the flaming fire of his rage and wrath is what hell is. It's not separation from God. It's being right smack dab in the middle of God's wrath and anger. Turn to Revelation 14. We've got to hurry, we're running out of time, but turn to Revelation 14. Let me read this for you. John 3:36. He that believeth on the Son hath everlasting life. Never going to die. Breathe your last breath and be in the presence of God in heaven. He that believeth on the Son has everlasting life. And he that believeth not the Son shall not see life, but the wrath of God abideth on him. That's what hell is. God's wrath, God's flaming fire of his anger we read about in Isaiah 30-31. The breath of the Lord, like a stream of brimstone, doth kindle it. Wow. But look at Revelation 14. And let me turn there myself. We'll begin reading at verse number 10. The Bible reads, look at verse number 9 to get the context. And the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast, and his image, and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of God. Remember Isaiah 30:33? Remember John 3:36? Which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation. And he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. And the smoke of their torment ascendeth up forever and ever. And they have no rest, day nor night, who worship the beast in his image, and whosoever receiveth the mark of his name. No rest. Did you know that it's a torture method to keep people awake? In places where people have been in concentration camps or maybe Vietnamese prison camps, part of the torture many times is sleep deprivation. There's torture when somebody's about to fall asleep and you wake them up. They're about to fall asleep again, you wake them up. Imagine no rest. Boy, isn't it good to go to sleep and rest? Boy, there's nothing like after a hard day or out in the Phoenix sun and the heat of the sun, and it just feels like it's baking your whole body and draining every ounce of moisture out of your body, and you're weary and tired. And sometimes you put your head on the pillow, that pillow feels so good. I mean, you'd rather be laying in that bed on that pillow, and I feel this way a lot. You'd rather be there than being on any sandy beach in the world, riding on any roller coaster. The only thing that you want, better than any meal, you just want to put your head on that nice cool pillow. And I remember what Daniel said, my sleep was sweet unto me. Because he was been awake and so tired, he talked about. And boy, sweet rest. And whatever happened in the day, you can just kind of lay it to rest. And his mercies are new every morning. Great is thy faithfulness, Lamentations chapter 3. You can lay your head down on your pillow and it's all over for rest. In hell, there's no rest, day nor night. Never to rest again. Hell is a place of dismal darkness. Raging waves of the sea, foaming out their own shame, wandering stars to whom is reserved the blackness of darkness forever. You say, reserved or reservation? Well, the Bible said he shall have his part in the lake which burns with fire and brimstone, which is saying that blackness of darkness. Darkness, I believe, like it says in the book of Exodus, which may be felt. You remember that? You can feel the darkness. That's from Exodus, the 9th plague. Hell is a place of screaming and wailing. The Bible says, then said the king to the servants, bind him hand and foot. It's a place kind of like I talked about that closet. You can't really get around much. You can't move around too much because you're bound in chains. The Bible says, reserved in everlasting chains under darkness unto the judgment of the great day. But he says, bind him hand and foot and take him away and cast him into outer darkness. Referring to the lake of fire, that is. Referring to the new location of hell when it's going to be away from the earth. It's going to be in outer darkness where hell is relocated in Revelation 20. There shall be, saying in that place, there shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth. Men are going to be gnawing their tongues in pain, grinding their teeth and wailing. The word wailing is just, ah! It's not just a scream, it's like a wail. It's something that, see, screaming doesn't really involve your vocal cords. Wailing is more of something where you're vocalizing almost like saying something, but you're not saying anything. You're just, wah! It's a horrible sound. Imagine listening to the wails. You ever been in that? I remember when my wife was giving birth in the hospital with our first child. You could hear wailing down the hall from other women who were giving birth. And you hear the mixture of a couple different people screaming and wailing. Imagine being in hell and there's hundreds and thousands and millions of people wailing around you, screaming. Not only that, but hell is a place, believe it or not, of flesh-eating worms. The Bible says in Isaiah 4, verse 12, it says, the worm is spread under thee. In verse 11, the worms cover thee. Talking about hell. It's a place where you're covered in worms that are covered. The Bible says, the worm shall feed sweetly on thee. You see, hell is a place of horrific creatures. Did you know that there are living creatures in hell? Because you remember in Revelation chapter 9, God opens up the bottomless pit. Actually, he sends the angel of the bottomless pit, Apollyon or Abaddon, which is not the devil. I proved that from the Bible many times. The devil is thrown into hell by Apollyon in chapter 20. You know, the angel of the bottomless pit. He has the key, he opens it up. So it can't be the same person. The angel of the bottomless pit opens it up, and you remember those locusts that come out of the bottomless pit in Revelation 12 and torment men on the earth 5 months? Remember the tails like scorpions and the teeth like lions, and they have breastplates, and they go around and they have the